Hello, pencil pushers. It's Silent Signs from I Dream of Indie, and today we are taking a look at the plane effect. I thought my commute from the office was terrible, but this gentleman's is particularly trying. You are playing as an office worker who just seems to want to go home at the end of the day and is faced with some of the strangest obstacles I have encountered. The best way I can describe the plane effect is Inside Corporate Edition. Controlling this nameless, faceless individual on his journey home, you will face some light puzzle solving as well as some light platforming. Controls are simple enough to understand. You are controlling your character using the left stick. You do have an interact button as well as a jump button. And as far as hints go, you have a little bit of options here. You can choose to have a guided run where you can just, at the push of a button, be directed exactly where you'll need to go next. You can also have a hint option that will provide you a hint to where you're going, but not quite tell you how to get there. And then, of course, you can do a completely blind run where you'll have to figure everything out on your own. While I didn't find the puzzles themselves particularly challenging, I did find the hint system helpful because sometimes it was just difficult to see an object or figure out exactly where you needed to go first. So having that option to turn hints on and off throughout your gameplay was incredibly helpful. As far as the platforming goes, well, quite honestly, I wish it was the part of the game that they left out. It feels very forced, it does not feel particularly fluid, and there's no shadow, for example, while you're jumping, so performing some of the platforming that is necessary to progress in this game can feel a little bit frustrating at times. Where the plane effect really shines is its ability to kind of keep you on your toes and teach you to expect the unexpected. In each new location, you will encounter something entirely different, completely non sequitur, and while the core game mechanics for the most part stay the same, they do vary up the gameplay in ways that might surprise you. The plane effect does have a very striking visual style that does definitely remind me of games like Inside or Limbo, where you have that stark contrast of colors with the bright lights. It's the kind of visuals that can make you feel at once very isolated, but also like you're being watched, and they do reflect that in the animations of the game, of course, but I think that this color and visual style really does help drive that home. As far as performance, the game ran just fine. It's not a particularly demanding title, though it is locked at 60 frames per second, so even if you have a monitor that goes beyond that, it's not going to help this game look or perform any better. Another quick thing to note, the game does have a few little hiccups here and there when you are interacting with an object, or sometimes when a scene is kind of loading up. It's nothing that really impacted my gameplay in any meaningful way, but I did see it, and to be clear, that is apart from the glitch effect that the game has built in. That was clearly meaningful and intended. This was not. As far as the soundtrack, it's comprised almost exclusively of kind of abstract synthesizers. It is fairly dynamic and does change with the different scenes in the game, but where the sound design really stands out is the sound effects. There's kind of this great lonely echo to the footsteps that really drives home, once again, that feeling of isolation, but at the same time, you feel like you are under constant observation, like you're running trials, almost in the same way that Portal had you doing tests. I loved how the sound effects and soundtrack were well balanced. I could hear both of them clearly, and neither got in the way of the other. The plane effect has very little voice acting. There's a hey or a hello here and there, and really that's all. It's not a narrative-driven game. It's driven almost exclusively by visuals. You're not going to have to do any reading for the most part, unless you're reading the options menu. You're really just following along by checking out what's going on in the game. It does really feel like the plane effect wears its inspiration on its sleeves. If you are a fan of games like Limbo or Inside, this one probably will be of interest to you. It's not perfect by any means. The platforming could use a little bit of work and once again felt very forced. I almost wish it wasn't included in the game, but the visual tricks as well as the variety of environments that you're going to get to experience here does give it its own personality, and it does make it a game that's worth at least checking out. So what do you think? Will you be clocking in with the plane effect? Let me know in the comments below. Before I go, I just want to thank our indie warriors, Mitchell Hall, Bunny, Kevilo, Bill Tikaz, Christian Cruz, Strict9, Chris Jackson, Nathan Moore, Peach, Adriana Amato, CJR, PSC, C-Coil, Skeptism, Jen Rose, Jesse, CPM, and Julian Colbus, and JRS8. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you for watching this video. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe down below so you don't miss any reviews or previews. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.